Hey, welcome. So today, we are going to dive deep into a practice that, a lot of us think we know pretty well. Yoga. We're going to go way beyond just the gym class and the cool yoga pants to really get into its profound meaning, why it's so important, and the core practices that have been around for literally thousands of years. So, let's kick things off by tackling what is probably the biggest misconception out there.
All right, let's just get right to it with the question that's probably on a lot of your minds. Is yoga really just fancy stretching? I mean, it's a super common thought, and honestly, it's a fair question. But the real answer, it goes so much deeper than just being flexible.
And to really understand why, we've got to look at the word itself. Yoga actually comes from this ancient Sanskrit root, yuj. And yuj means to unite, to join, or to yoke. The entire practice, the whole shebang, is built on this one powerful idea of union. And we're not just talking about your muscles. We're talking about the union of your individual self with this bigger, universal consciousness. It's really all about connecting your mind and your body to find a genuine sense of peace and balance.
To really nail this down, we can turn to the ancient texts themselves. One of the most important sources, the Yoga Sutras, written by the sage Patanjali, gives us this foundational definition: Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. And trust me, this is one of the most famous and important lines in all of yoga philosophy.
Okay, great. So what does that ancient Sanskrit phrase actually mean for us? Well, to put it simply, it means this. Yoga is the calming of the mind's constant chatter. You know that voice in your head that never seems to stop? Yoga is the practice of finding stillness in the middle of all that mental noise. That's the core goal.
But that's not the only way to look at it. There's another incredibly important text, the Bhagavad Gita, that gives us a different but just as powerful definition. It says, Samatvam Yoga Uchate. And this gives us a whole new way to think about how yoga fits into our everyday actions and lives.
And this one translates to something really powerful for, modern life. It means yoga is equanimity. What's that? It's the ability to stay centered and balanced, whether you're celebrating a huge win or dealing with a massive failure. It's about keeping that inner stability no matter what life decides to throw your way. So, okay, we've got these really deep definitions, but why should you care? Why practice it? Well, this ancient philosophy actually translates into some very real, very modern benefits. It's what turns yoga from just an exercise into a whole way of life.
And the benefits are, they're truly holistic. I mean, physically, yeah, of course, you get more flexible and stronger, but it also does things like improve your posture and even boost your immune system. Then there's the mental game. It's an amazing tool for cutting down stress and anxiety, sharpening your focus, and just finding some inner peace. And on a spiritual level, it really amps up your self-awareness and helps you build a much deeper connection with who you really are. All right, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but it also sounds kind of abstract, right? Like, how do you actually do all this stuff? Well, thankfully, the sage Patanjali didn't just tell us the destination, he gave us a super detailed roadmap to get there. And it's called the 8 Limbs of Ashtanga Yoga.
Now, it's really important to think of these 8 limbs not as a checklist you just tick off one by one. It's more like they're all interconnected practices that you work on together. The whole system is designed to systematically purify your body and your mind, guiding you down a path that leads to that ultimate goal, self-realization.
So the journey kind of starts with the outside world and how we interact with it. The first 2 limbs, the yamas and niyamas, these are basically the ethical rules and self-disciplines. They're the foundation. Then you get to asana, which are the physical poses everyone knows as yoga. And right after that comes pranayama, which is all about breath control or managing your life force. These first 4 are all about getting your body and your character ready.
Okay, so once that foundation is in place, the journey turns inward. Step 5 is pratyahara. That's pulling your senses away from all the outside distractions. This naturally leads you to dharana, which is intense, single-pointed concentration. And when that concentration becomes totally effortless, it just flows right into dhyana, or what we call meditation. The final limb, the ultimate goal, is samadhi, a state of pure enlightenment, bliss, and that complete union we talked about at the beginning.
All right, now let's talk about a part of the practice that's maybe not as famous, but is absolutely crucial. See, according to the old yogic texts, before you can really get into the deep work, like breath control and meditation, you have to prepare your physical body first. You've got to clean out the vessel, so to speak.
And this is where something called the yogic kriyas or the shat karmas come into play. Shat just means 6, and karma means action. So these are 6 specific actions or purification techniques. Think of them like a deep spring cleaning for your internal body. The whole point is to remove toxins and get you ready for the more subtle, deeper practices of yoga. And these 6 actions are really all over the map. I mean, they range from something like neti, which is basically a nasal rinse with salt water, all the way to tritaka, which involves concentrating your gaze on a candle flame. And they also include some pretty advanced stuff like Dao-Ti for cleansing the digestive tract and Naoli, which is this powerful abdominal churning technique. Each one is designed to target a totally different system in your body.
Now, the benefits are huge. We're talking toning your internal organs, improving digestion, getting rid of toxins. But, and this is probably the single most important thing I'm going to say about this, many of these are advanced practices. So the crucial point here is you absolutely must learn and do these under the guidance of a qualified expert teacher. Seriously, this is not something you want to be trying at home after watching a video or reading a book.
So there you have it. We've talked about the real meaning of yoga as union, we've walked through that whole 8-limbed path, and we've even touched on these deep purification practices. The entire map is basically laid out for you. All that's left is to take that first step.
So as you can see now, yoga is so much more than just fancy stretching. It's a complete system for living a more balanced, healthy, and self-aware life. This path has everything, from ethical guidelines to physical postures to deep meditation. So looking at this whole map we've just explored together, the only real question left is for you. Where on this path are you going to begin?